our Broadway star, Mary D'Arcy, whose credits include Singing in the Rain, Sunday in the Park with George, and over 1,300 performances as Christine in Phantom of the Opera. And Tony Award-winning conductor, musical director, and pianist, Carl German, whose credits include Into the Woods, Guys and Dolls, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King. Then we'll be joined by international child custody lawyer, Patricia Appy, and later in the show we'll be meeting with Trinity Parish Administrator, Jill Osis, and talk about the good work that they do over there at Trinity. My name is Paul Diavidi, and here's your host, Tim McLoone.
Thanks, Paul. You know, this is how we envision doing the show, actually, from a piano. We're actually sitting in our supper club in Asbury Park, and we're happy to say we're back open after being shut down for nearly a month. And I'm actually sitting at a piano. Yeah, I guess that gets applause too. This is an easy crowd. This is good. And they're not even related to me. Actually, if they were related to me, it would be a not easy crowd. My children are like, my father is so embarrassing. But anyway, we're doing it from the piano, which is sort of how I always envisioned it. And actually, in the beginning, when we were coming in, I was playing a piece by Vince Guaraldi called "Cast Your Fate to the Wind." If I were, and I also claimed the first note, but if we, if I were a better piano player, I would have been doing the Charlie Brown material, because that's what he wrote. All that holiday stuff you hear, and it was an amazing thing, actually, that they entrusted really a jazz geek musician guy to write that music. And I think really the success of that was sort of the unusual animation in the Charlie Brown specials, going along with this jazz music. I think it's just such a strange thing. But you know, when we originally put the show together, we were going to call it, and I have to ask you this, is it 6 degrees of separation or 7 degrees of separation? What do you think of the audience? Half the audience is saying, some people, I think it's 6 also.
I think it's 6 as well, but some people say 7.
Oh, now it's turning, because I thought it was 7.
From the Kevin Bacon thing.
Well, did you ever see the Will and Grace episode where they stalk him and it's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, they do the whole Footloose thing? It's Footloose thing. But the idea of the show was actually to have people that I either know or I'm somehow strangely, in some cases I'll just flat out owe them money. But, just have people on, and so our guests today, we're very familiar with them. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, normally, Paul and I in the past, we've spoken about shows we've seen, because Paul's an actor. He's here with me because that's going really great, the acting part. But we're going to talk about Broadway shows and you know, TV shows and movies and stuff like that. Now that I'm deep into the Holiday Express thing, and I think everyone probably is familiar with Holiday Express now, we do 60 events between just before Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. And we try to go places basically that if we're not there, they get little or no attention at holiday time. Or their need is so great that we don't care if they're getting a lot of attention. And we just bring a big holiday party to them. And so we did 3 of them yesterday. So that's why my voice sounds so fabulous. And also it's why I have no time to go to the movies or anything else. But I did want to bring up something that's come up at our shows. And that is the song, This Little Light of Mine. You know that song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. So it's a gospel piece. And I'd heard it through the years, but I went to my daughter Hannah. They had a little school thing last year. She's in 7th grade. And she was in 6th last year, and they played that. I'm really good at math, by the way. She's 7th this year, 6th last year. They played This Little Light of Mine. It was last April or May or something. And so it just stayed in the back of my mind, and we were doing Holiday Express this year, and that song just kept reverberating around. And we'd never played it before, and it's not difficult. So about 10 days ago, I asked a couple of our singers to come up and just start doing it. And what a shocking thing. Just how the whole audience lifted. And everybody's singing along, and even if they'd never heard it before, they could do it. But the point of the story is what that song means. It's a religious song, I guess, but I think of it more as a spiritual song. And the whole idea about a light, and the people we see over the course of this 40 days when we do these events, all their lights, in many cases anyway, are dimming. And they have these wonderful social workers who are with them, and we are so in awe of these people. They make a big fuss out of us because we come in, we do our show, everybody gets ramped up, and we leave. And they come back the next day. And they keep the lights burning on these people. I just think it's such an amazing thing to see all these social workers, and ain't nobody getting rich on social workers' pay. And sometimes when I hear people complaining about entitlements and talking about public workers, you know, who we pay for, they have no idea in many cases, while they're being critical, how spectacular these people are. An amazing thing. Again, the compliant audience applauding. We don't even have a sign up. We should get a sign that says applause. This would be fantastic. But anyway, I'm excited about today's show because the people we're going to see are just spectacular. I mean, speaking of Broadway, here we're going to have the musical director of The Lion King, along with Mary D'Arcy, his wife. It's so happened. I guess it just doesn't so happen. They probably arranged to get married. And and she played the lead role of Christine on Broadway on Phantom of the Opera for many, many performances. So we're going to visit with them. And Patricia Appy has, I think that everyone's going to be really interested in hearing her story about the kind of child custody cases that she deals with as an attorney. And of course, I'm really looking forward to seeing Jill Osis, who runs Trinity Soup Kitchen. So looking forward to this whole show. Thanks everyone for being here.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Tim McLoone Radio Show. If you've just joined us, we're speaking with Broadway actress Mary D'Arcy and Broadway conductor and pianist Carl German. I'm Paul Diamini, and here's your host, Tim McLoone.
Thanks, Paul. That last piece of music, of course, was made famous by Dave Brubeck, who recently passed away. I have to tell you, actually, the first concert I ever saw was at the Paper Mill Playhouse with Dave Brubeck. And years later, I actually opened for him, which was ridiculous because I'm clearly not a jazz player. But I got the gig anyway, I opened the Vermont Jazz Festival. And he's backstage beforehand, and I summoned up my courage to say hello to Dave Brubeck. Mr. Brubeck, my name is Tim McLoone, and I opened for you. I'm sorry, you're the first concert I ever saw, and I'm about to open for you. And he goes, that's nice. And he turns around and walks away. Okay, so my first brush with stardom. Anyway, I'm so happy to have my two guests here today. Mary D'Arcy. Hello, Mary. How are you?
Hi, Tim. Happy to be
And of course, but your husband, Carl German. Hello, Carl. I'm a little fearful of him. There's no telling where this interview is going to go.
That's true. You can go anywhere.
But you starred on Broadway in Phantom of the Opera, and then we met you through Holiday Express. So going back to that, though, I mean, so much has to happen for you to actually get that role. I mean, where did you train? What led you to that moment when they said, Mary, we want you to do this?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a dream come true, that's for sure. I trained, believe it or not, I went to Glassboro State College here in New Jersey, and it was a wonderful, wonderful music training. I was a voice major there. In fact, that's where I met Carl.
So it wasn't an entirely good experience.
No, exactly. It was, he was.
Some good thing. Glassboro was Rowan.
Rowan University now, but back then it was Glassboro State College, and I was the first ever vocal performance major that they had, because up until that point it was considered a teacher's college.
Right.
So I was a performance major, went on to go up to New York and studied, but I was classically trained, but in my heart I always wanted to do Broadway, and in fact my inspiration was Stephen Sondheim. It was hearing the soundtrack of A Little Night Music when I was in high school. And wow. I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And so my first dream come true was actually doing Sunday in the Park with George, the original Broadway cast, and getting a chance to work with Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine. And so that was brilliant. And the first time I ever heard the music for Phantom of the Opera, that was the other time I said, that's what I want to do. And I auditioned for it more than once. I didn't get it the first time around, but
How'd you do with that? Well, I mean, the disappointment of it, how did you do
it? It was tough. It was tough. I was very disappointed. I had flown in actually from California. I was out in LA at the time. And flew in especially for it, and at the request, I felt very honored. Hal Prince requested that I fly in and do this audition. And
see, the cool thing would be if you bought a one-way ticket.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. No reason to go back.
I'm not going back.
No way, I'm getting this job. Yeah. But then a year later, I re-auditioned, and I got the job. And I have to say, I'm so lucky. It's been a big part of my life.
Sure.
Since then, and I got to perform opposite two pretty heavyweight phantoms, Michael Crawford and Cole Wilkinson.
Now, see, the thing is, I always thought of Michael Crawford as an actor. I was as shocked as anyone when he was singing. He was this scrawny guy who, was in a whole bunch of comedic movies, really.
Right.
He was a comedic player, and kind of a goofy one at that. Almost like a Bean kind of guy, before that happened. So when he opened his mouth and that came out, I was like, my goodness. So was the guy sitting next to you helpful at all, or was he just hitting on you? I mean, well, you know.
Well, in college he was hitting on me.
Do you remember when you actually met, though, the first moment?
I think it was at a Christmas
Was
party.
I asking you? No, sorry, no. Carl, go ahead. No, we should hear your version of what you're
I think we have a different version.
Well, I think we started dating at a Christmas party at a faculty member's house back in the early years of our Glassboro careers.
Yeah.
And we started dating after that. I think I scared Mary away a little bit then. And
well, you should.
And then we started dating and just kept back together. We met in madrigals.
The Madrigal Society, and what
Who
I
doesn't?
remember.
I mean, come on.
I know. It was Christmas time, and we met. We were singing in this small concert choir, Madrigal Society, and I winked at him across the room, and that's what started it all.
The pretty soprano, I couldn't resist.
Winking. She's so nervy.
I couldn't resist.
I know. I had no idea the power of my wink.
That's the most you could throw.
I think she needed to date a piano player. That
That's
was the deal. So I could accompany her the rest of her life.
Exactly. That's all.
The rest of her life, she has a built-in piano player.
Built-in pianist, arranger, accompanist.
It all worked out.
Well, did you work together after that? I mean, you're dating and stuff. I mean, did the music follow right along with it?
Yeah, pretty much. Although we actually we started out. I did a singing waiters group in college, and Carl played the piano for the singing waiters. So I mean, we've been performing, all these years. And various things, and now
we went out the first time on the national tour of Day in Hollywood.
that's right.
The first time we worked professionally, Mary got the job at that Day in Hollywood, a Tommy Tune musical of the Marx Brothers. It was fabulous.
Day in Hollywood, A Night in the Ukraine. Carl was the associate conductor on that, and that was my first. It was the first national tour of a Broadway show, but it feels like my first Broadway show.
It works out well every
That's
once in a
why.
while.
It's funny I said A Night in the Ukraine because I saw in your bio that you toured Russia.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, were there no gigs here? It's like, you talk to your manager agent and say, "What do you got?" Well, I got Russia.
I got Russia. Actually, that
I
was.
see Sarah Palin from here.
That was pretty.
Just ignore me. My left wing stuff comes out.
I know. I can see Alaska from where I was. Yeah.
But Mary took that same tour. Ironically, she took it to John Faddis and a lot of heavyweight people, and at the Gorbachevs and all kinds of wonderful
It
things.
was back when
she
it was
came,
still the Soviet Union.
and then she came back and quit.
Well,
and
then Carl did it.
And then I took over as the music director. I went to Japan.
see her plans?
That's
That
right.
worked out perfectly.
Had things going, and then
Just missed.
You know, we're speaking with Mary D'Arcy, Broadway actress, and also her husband, Carl German, who is the musical director for The Lion King. You think that show is going to catch on? Is it going to hang around for a while? I don't know.
Runs forever and ever. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary.
That's right. Yay.
Which is amazing. And you've been there since day one.
Since day one, I came over from Beauty and the Beast. I jumped on that Disney bandwagon early. I'm back at Beauty and the Beast when they first started doing musicals, and then they brought me over to The Lion King, and it's just been one big party and ride.
Yeah, I bet. When we come back, I'm going to ask you if it actually ever gets old. Because for the audiences, it doesn't, but for you, we'll talk with Mary and Carl in just a few moments.
Broadcasting from WOR 710 AM and online at WOR710.com and on your smartphone by downloading the WOR mobile app every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Tim McLoone Radio and listen to the show, as well as past shows on our website, timmclooneradio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Asbury Park, New Jersey. We should do this more often.
Let's try it next week.
You're going to be around next Saturday?
Saturday, 5 o'clock, 710 WOR, right?
Well, we were able to hoodwink Mary into singing a song. She said, "You're not going to play piano, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I actually am." you know, her husband is much better
Just
than I
like
am.
Holiday Express.
I say many times when I sit down at the piano says to me, "Oh, it's you again." You know? But we'll give it a try. So here's a song of the season from Mary D'Arcy.